Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program, lawmakers remain hopeful in passing the 2019 budget.
We've been saying it since day one, magkakaroon tayong bagong budget. And I think you've seen it today. Pwede naman pala magkaintindihan eh.
This amid pork barrel allegations and questionable budget insertions.
Kung talagang mabigat yung mga aligasyon na sinasabi, it's better that we just withdraw.
Also, congressmen push for stricter requirements before disclosing their statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth, or SALNs.
Yung sinasabi nila na plenary as precondition to issuance ng SALN or any public record for that matter is misleading.
And a proposal for the return of mandatory ROTC. House Majority Leader Fred Castro joins us live. And later, not one, not two, but at least 40 mummies were discovered in this burial site. That's for today's In Focus. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pinky Webb. The House of Representatives is pushing for stricter rules in disclosing their statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth, or SALNs. The lower house says this move could prevent tampering of those records and the possibility of documents falling in the hands of syndicates, extortionists, or even terrorists. Also, the status of the 2019 budget. Is pork barrel still included in the proposed budget? And the House moves forward in reviving the mandatory ROTC. Let's go straight to the source of the story. House Majority Leader Fred Castro. Congressman, good to have you again.
It's an honor to be with you, Pinky.
Your last day is on Wednesday, isn't it?
Yes,
in Congress.
February 6.
Okay, so let's start with the budget. Where are you in terms of the 2019 budget?
Well, insofar as the 2019 budget is concerned, except for a few issues, but although very hot issues, they are the bicameral, the members of the bicameral conference committee is already on the finishing touches. No? As soon as these issues are resolved, then I am sure that we will be able to finish the budget for 2019.
When?
Hopefully this coming Wednesday. That is February 6.
The last day.
The last day.
Of Congress. What if you don't finish it on February 6?
Well, I don't want to speculate that we are not going to finish it. I don't want even to think about it because, you know, it's bad for the country. Several finance people or finance managers of the government have already expressed concern about the reenacted budget. We have Secretary Panelo, we have Undersecretary Lambino, we have Secretary Pernia, we have Secretary Dominguez and others saying that we are not supposed to have reenacted budget because it's bad for the country. And therefore, considering these pronouncements, all those in the bicameral conference committee should take one step forward or one step backward to have the budget for 2019 pass for the good of the country.
Why one step backward?
One step backward because someone should not remain steadfast on something that could be dispensed with.
Such as?
Such as questions, for example, which are not precondition to the
Passing of the budget.
Passing the budget.
Such as?
Well, like for example,
Is this the pork issue, sir?
No, pork issues is something very important because, you know, in the members of the House of Representatives are always the bad guys. We are always being accused of pork barrel. But, you know, I don't think that that is, again, correct, if not inaccurate. Because what is given to the members of the House are placed in the appropriation bill, and they're all itemized. They are in response to the requests or to the needs of their respective districts. Whereas pork barrel, in accordance with the Supreme Court decision, is a lump sum amount is inserted in the budget
and not
then
itemized.
what's this? Use it with a known use or with use in so general terms, and then tinker of it.
Tinkering with it, yeah.
After
Okay.
the approval of the General Appropriation Act.
Because there seems to be a question on who has pork in the 2019 budget. Just to summarize this, Congressman, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Senator Ping Lacson is accusing the House of this. Every congressman is allotted 160 million pesos. You have 291 congressmen. You and Congressman Bravo, it's Bravo, right, sir?
Bravo.
Bravo, are actually saying it is Senator Lacson who introduced 50 billion in the 2019 budget, which is not itemized. And then Senator Lacson accuses you and Congressman Bravo of lying to cover up the pork in the House. So let me start with this question. Are the congressmen allotted 160 million each, sir?
Well, what I understand, Pinky, is that there is a suggestion that each and every congressman be allocated 160 million. But whether or not that is true, and assuming that that is true, and assuming further that congressmen accept this proposal, it's not pork.
Because?
Because everything is itemized. Everything is accounted for.
But you said it was suggested that every congressman has 160 million. Suggested by whom? And as majority leader, sir, does every congressman have 160 million? Because if you're saying, sir, that it's itemized, then there should be nothing wrong with it, correct, sir?
Yes.
So, is every congressman allotted 160 million pesos in the 2019 budget, sir?
It has not been agreed yet. It is simply a discussion point. What do I mean?
What do you
Meaning
mean?
that the discussion could start in that amount. It could be reduced or it could be increased.
So, bargaining amount yung 160.
It's not really bargaining, but the discussion could evolve there or could revolve
Okay.
there.
So, it could... So how do you point blank answer it? Does every congressman have 160 million pesos, sir?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
How will you know, how will we know if the congressman will get 160 million pesos?
That
each,
depends after the bicameral conference committee.
As it is now, in the BICAM, does every congressman have 160 million?
There is none.
None. Okay. And then, sir, you're saying, in fact, Senator Ping Lacson, you're the one who put in 50 billion pesos. You introduced that, you said this, and Congressman Bravo, in the budget, that's actually not itemized.
Let us distinguish it.
Yes, sir.
Was it introduced during the new leadership or during the old leadership?
Whose
Because what
leadership
I
of the
understand
Senate?
is that this 51 billion was already there when the new leadership, Speaker Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, became Speaker. That was already there. We are not even aware of it. Congressmen were not aware of it. Therefore, how could this possibly be acts of all congressmen or act of the House of Representatives as a whole? Because we are not aware of it. It was only discovered by Congressman Andaya.
So, is it true that Senator Ping Lacson introduced 50 billion pesos, sir?
Well,
the
in
budget?
fairness to my good friend, Senator Lacson, I am a member of the Bicameral Conference Committee, but I don't attend the conference because taong bahay ako, Pinky.
Sa Kongreso.
I have to take care of the transaction or the business of the House during the plenary session and others. But reports are coming in from the members of the Bicameral Conference Committee who are members of the House of Representatives.
Who say that the senator introduced 50 billion pesos in the budget?
All
Right,
of
sir?
those in the Bicameral Conference Committee. In fact, I remember that it was Congressman Bravo who even brought to the attention of some of us that Senator Lacson has 50 billion in his name that was inserted, although it was not an insertion according to Senator Lacson, it's an institutional
Amendment. Yeah, I wanted to ask you that. Ask you about that institutional amendment, individual amendment. But there was a text from Senator Ping Lacson. I want to bring this in, sir. He said that you are actually guessing. It's not 50 billion. He clarifies it as actually 30 billion pesos, which we're going to show on the screen as soon as it's available. Total amendments, 30 billion, 497, of which, well, the amount is there, sir. 3,965,000,000 is subcommittee E amendments, and 26 billion under amendments during the second reading. Not 50 billion as wrongly guessed by Congressman Castro, sir. He's mali daw kayo.
It was not a guess. It was reported to the members of the House of Representatives by a member of the House who is also a member of the conference committee.
Who happens to be?
Well, Congressman Andaya said
Okay.
that Senator Lacson has 50 billion. Congressman Bravo said that Senator Lacson has 50 billion. And the rest of the members are saying that he has 50 billion.
And then he goes to say that I think you challenged him to make this public, sir. And then he says that he actually made this public. In fact, it goes to education, the environment, and national security. This is a text message he sent to us saying, yes, he submitted the itemized version, sir, to the Finance Committee led by Senator Loren Legarda. All in writing, walang ibinulong, walang isinulat sa napkin.
I don't know whether it would pass the test. The description would pass the test of transparency and accountability. I don't know whether that would be enough to remove it from the meaning of insertion or pork barrel.
Well, how does it pass, Congressman, for our knowledge, the transparency issue? How does an amount become okay? How do you say that it's valid?
Like, for example, 50 billion. You will say for PNP, for the Armed Forces of the Philippines, for education.
Correct.
But it is not stated there how much for education, what's the use for the education, what's the use for the PNP, what's the use for the AFP.
Are you saying, sir, that Senator Ping Lacson, possibly, we're just throwing out numbers, said, if it's 30 billion, 10 billion sa environment, 10 billion sa armed forces, ganun ho ba yun?
That would be enough. That would not be enough.
Yeah.
Because that is quotes in general terms.
It has to be itemized.
It's not only Senator Lacson, no? But anyone who does that would violate transparency and accountability in our General Appropriation Act.
And the ruling of the Supreme
And
Court
the
on the
ruling of the
pork
Supreme
barrel
Court.
fund.
Yes.
But he throws out that that same challenge to you and some of the members of the House. Why don't you go public with your amendments and itemize them? Have you? Personally, sir, kayo. Magkano ho ba yung sa inyo at in-itemize
Well,
nyo na ho ba ito?
frankly, I don't know yet. That's why when you ask me whether each and every congressman has 160 million, I said it's only a talking point. It is a talking point that could be discussed along the way. But there is no allocation yet for each and every congressman. That's what I know. How I hope that it's there. But one thing is clear, Pinky. At this point in time, there is nothing there in the General Appropriation Act that would itemize the so-called 160 million because there is no agreement yet that something shall be allocated for the congressmen.
But why would there be no agreement within the House, sir? Kasi kayo naman na nagpasa ng budget.
No, there could be no agreement within the House because everything should be discussed in the bicameral conference.
Yeah, but there is an original agreement, sir. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Hindi ho ba, kailan may agreement muna kayo dito, ipapasa niyo sa Senado?
There was none, Pinky.
There was no agreement
There was
whatsoever?
No agreement. Yes. Yes.
All right, we'll be taking a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Still to come, stricter rules in accessing lawmakers' SALNs and reviving the proposal to make ROTC mandatory. I think he's author of both. You are, sir, no?
I'm not author of ROTC.
Hindi sa ROTC.
bill.
House Majority Leader Fred Castro tells us more after the break. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, House Majority Leader Fred Castro. Sir, so kasi nga hindi pa tapos. Wednesday's your last day sa budget. Is it possible to hold special sessions on the budget, sir?
Well, the possibility is there because anytime a special session could be called. But the problem is the quorum. The problem is the attendance, considering that it's already campaign period. Although I could say, but this is purely a calculated speculation, that congressmen would, I think, would be coming. Because otherwise, if there is no quorum and what has been agreed in the bicameral conference committee is not ratified, they cannot bring projects
to their
constituents.
districts.
Yeah.
And the official season for, is it campaigning or election for congressmen, it's not until March, hindi ho ba?
Yes,
February
March.
is for the national post.
But you know, there are a lot of preparations that we have to do before the campaign period comes. We have to prepare all the materials. We have to go through the organization of our political leaders and political organizations.
How confident are you that you'll be able to pass the budget on Wednesday, sir?
Well, in a scale of 10, I give 7 or 8.
10 being the highest, that you will be able to approve this.
Yes.
Okay, so does that mean, sir, just to understand it better, if you pass it on Wednesday, tapos pipirmahan pa po yan ni Pangulo, hindi ho ba?
Iraratify pa namin.
Correct.
Iraratify ng House of Representatives, iraratify ng Senate. And that's after ratification, that's the time that it will be sent to the President for signature.
Does that mean that, are you comfortable to say that February, if passed, sir, on Wednesday, we'll still have a reenacted budget for the month of February?
Well, yes.
I guess so. Huh?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's move to topics now. SALN, sir, you're one of the authors here. House Resolution 2467, basically it's about requests for SALN of lawmakers. So a number of people quite unhappy with this. There are certain provisions here that seem too taxing. And you're saying that some of them could possibly be misleading. Let me start with this. You need a sworn declaration of when it can be used or not used. Correct, sir?
Yes.
So kailangan sabihin ng tao, journalist, private citizen, itong SALN ni Congressman Castro, gagamitin ko lang para dito at hindi ko gagamitin para dito.
Yes.
Why?
Because the purpose is to prevent fishing expedition. Because if you are going to make use of SALN of a particular congressman or House member, for that matter, for a fishing expedition, it's not good.
Aren't congressmen supposed to be transparent, sir?
Yes, they are supposed to be transparent. But you know, whenever someone asks for a copy of the SALN, not only of the congressmen, even senators, even members of the Supreme Court, that is an exercise of a right under the Constitution. Because the Constitution guarantees access to public records
documents.
On matters of public concern. But remember, Pinky, that in every exercise of right, there is a corresponding obligation. What is the obligation? The obligation is that, okay, you exercise your right, but not to the extent that you damage someone in the exercise of your right.
But would it be damaging somebody who is possibly a cause for damage? Hindi ho ba? I mean, we can discuss this as a public office, as a public trust, sir,
Yes.
hindi ho ba?
Yes.
And that a public official should be transparent. And then here you are telling us na, kasi pag gamitin nyo yan, kumuha kayo niyan, baka gamitin nyo yan for a fishing expedition. But if there's nothing to catch, there shouldn't be a problem, sir.
Well, of course, Pinky, you are right there, and I agree with you 100%. But there is nothing that could prevent unscrupulous people from tampering and pass it as authentic. Like, for example, you got the SALN of someone from the House of Representatives. Not only SALN of House member, but even House official or House employee.
Okay.
It's certified through copy. On the face value, it's certified. But people don't know that it has been tampered.
Pwedeng ibahin na, i-edit.
Yes.
Yeah, but that person, sir, can also debunk that particular fake SALN, right?
Yes, of course. But, you know, innocent people could easily be deceived that tampered documents are original and authentic documents. Now, why are these informations? Alam mo, tinatamad lang siguro silang mag-fill up kung nitong mga information ito. That's why they say that it's hard, no? Kasi gusto nila immediately, no? By the way, Pinky, hindi naman pwede yung ganun-ganun na lang because we also protect the requesting party. Because if this certified true copy or SALN of any public official is used by unscrupulous people, even by swindlers, even by terrorists, or even by syndicates for that matter, extortionists, itong tao, if he's not properly identified, could be held liable.
Sir, can you help me understand how a SALN, para din for the viewers, could be used by terrorists, extortionists? I guess extortionists kasi pag mayaman kayo. Ganun, di ba, sir?
Sa akin, wala silang ma-extort.
Sir, extortionists, sabi nyo, syndicates, terrorists. How can they use your SALN, terrorists use your SALN? Paano, sir?
Simply, if the committee, for example, I am the chairman of the committee, Committee on Defense, for example, there is something or there is a bill ought to be passed to address security matters of the Republic of the Philippines. Then, here is my SALN. The terrorists will call the congressman. We have copy of your, SALN, and we can do everything we want on the basis of the SALN.
Such as?
Well, they can tamper the SALN and pass it on as original or authentic.
Yeah, but I said, sir, you can also debunk that, right?
But you know, it will already
Lumabas na.
do damage.
Okay, there are other requirements.
We are only talking of curative, no? What is
Not
important
preventive.
is preventive, to prevent damage before you cure it.
Okay, so vetted also, another requirement is by a committee and by the plenary? You need first it needs to be vetted by a committee and then you need the consent of the majority at plenary. Is this correct, sir? Or is ito ba yung misleading?
Yan yung misleading.
Sige, sir.
Yan. Alam mo, maraming interpretasyon kasi, Pinky.
Sige,
no?
sir.
Okay. When the person, the requesting party applies for a document, not necessary SALN, or let's be specific SALN, his application will be filed with the Office of the Secretary General. Then the Secretary General will refer it to the committee, a SALN Review and Compliance Committee. Now let me stress that this committee is organized or has been organized in the rule, not because that we want to have a committee, but it is the mandate of Republic Act number 6713.
Which is?
There got to be a committee or similar group that would process the request for any document, including SALN. Then there will be evaluation, whether or not SALN shall be given, because it would be based on the identification of the person. Now, I am sure that it is Pinky Webb who is requesting. There is no need for identification. Who will not recognize and identify Miss Pinky Webb?
What if,
Okay?
okay.
But, you know, if someone, for example, whose name has appeared to be connected with the syndicate, someone who is connected with drug syndicate, someone who was swindled and he has a lot of cases, someone who has been associated with illegal groups for that matter, that's the time that
You don't give that. The committee will disapprove that request
not
of that
only
particular
the committee
person.
will first see to it that he is the same person.
Yeah. They'll investigate. All right, we'll be
Yes.
taking another short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. So, maybe it's best, sir, to also talk about the one thing. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, House Majority Leader Fred Castro. Sir, 2 minutes. So, the congressman clarified it. it only goes to plenary if the committee denies the request of the
Yes.
person. Okay. The third one, which among other things is
Just to prevent the denial from being arbitrary.
Okay.
Because I even remember someone, a woman, whose SALN was requested.
okay.
She denied it. Then the requesting party is nowhere to go or was nowhere to go.
Okay. So may plenary. 300 pesos? Why, sir?
Well,
300 pesos, 291 congressmen, about
For me-
90,000 pesos for me to get your
for
SALN.
me, no, not 90,000, it's 300.
300 pesos.
Yes.
No, I know, sir. If I wanted to get the SALN of 291 congressmen, I'll round it out to 300.
yes, yeah.
300 congressmen times 300 pesos, 90,000 pesos.
That's easy to answer.
Okay, go, sir.
You just bring your own bond paper and
Pwede yun.
you won't be charged.
But you said
anything.
for reproduction, it's 300 pesos. It says here, sir. Diba?
Reproduction, you bring your own bond paper.
So how much will we pay if we bring
Only
our
one
own bond paper?
one ream of bond paper is enough.
All right,
Now,
sir. Okay.
Again, the 300 is not fixed. That could always be rationalized by the committee, by the SALN Review and Compliance Committee.
Just very briefly, sir, let me bring Malacanang's take on this from Secretary Sal Panelo. Sinasabi po niya that just a portion, the executive promoted transparency when the President issued Executive Order Number 2 on the freedom of information, making effective the people's right to information. Any stringent measure which burdens the people in obtaining public information may not be consistent with the transparency and accountability of public officials,
It is
sir.
consistent. Because even in the executive order, the president says there, public matters of public concern will be given or will be disclosed to people, except national security. There is an exception. Therefore, this resolution is aligned with the executive order. What is it? The independence of the House, the security of the members, and the safety of the members.
Are congressmen national security, sir?
Well, what they do.
What they do. All right. Thank you. I wish we had more time. Majority Leader Fred Castro, sir, maraming salamat po sa inyo.
Maraming salamat din, Pinky.
Wednesday's your last
At
day, and I guess
sa ulit-ulit, sabi ko sa iyo, 3 hours tayo.
Maraming salamat. Thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.